Hello everyone, this is Roddy. This is not a tutorial but a demonstration of a preset I built for myself, which is called PAE. Full name is called Push Apart Effector in animation nodes. So firstly, maybe you're aware that in the middle of January, I made a tutorial called Moving Holes in Blender with animation nodes. The animation was originally inspired by the one made in Cinema 4D, and I made two patterns. One pattern is that the holes on the sphere must not intersect each other, and the second one is the holes intersect each other. And the first pattern is really trying to replicate what has been done in Cinema 4D, but I almost failed. And the reason is that the author used a feature in Cinema 4D which is called push apart effector. So basic idea of push apart effector is if you try to instance all objects over the space, sometimes they do intersect each other. For example, if I just put these matrices into matrices without PAE, and if I just randomly increase the number, you can see there's intersection. And there's no way to prevent that in animation node. There's no such a node directly called PAE or applicable function to do such a function for you. So you have to build your own node, or you ask a developer to build a node for you, and so on. So that's why I try to build such a thing. And you can see if I link this matrix list to the matrices, instantaneously you can get everything dealt. There's no intersection at all. And this is what I would like to show you. I may talk in this demonstration. I would like to show how this PAE works, and there's pros and cons in my algorithm. I suppose other people can do better, but I'm not a programmer, so it was really just a kind of challenge or whatever stuff. Anyway, let's take a look with how it actually works. So now if I don't have randomness, each sphere has a dimension, actually almost a diameter of 2 meters. And now they are separated in a grid which is 3 meters apart each other. So from this sphere to that sphere is 3 meters. That's why the PAE is not working, because there is no intersection anyway. But if you decrease this the distance, you can see immediately the PAE is in effect that push everything apart, which is very nice. The only bad part, the first con of my PAE is that if you really have worked with Cinema 4D's push apart effector, you can see my PAE is very jaggy. So originally there's nothing happens, but suddenly everything has been pushed apart, which is almost a pity, because currently I have no way to solve this issue. I think it's the issue rooted in the algorithm I built for myself. So I have to fix that in the future, or improve that in the future. But the thing I would like to say is at least it's working, that it prevents intersection pretty well. If you don't have such a things, then you do have intersections. It's kind of pretty accurate. So if you put the radius as small as 0.8, the intersection is pretty huge. And if you use PAE, then there's no intersection. If there is an intersection occurs, then you just increase the iteration until the intersection has been gone. And the calculation is still pretty fast, like 62 milliseconds. It's not a fatal. And obviously you can increase the iteration until the moment it really disappears and so on. It does not really matter. Just to be aware, the more iteration you have, the more loads it has. But I think it's still tolerable, about 100 milliseconds. Another feature is you can see the iteration limit. I think this is, so iteration is something that occurs in the Cinema 4D push apart effector, but the iteration limit is something I made for myself. The reason is, according to my algorithm, if you keep the limit kind of very high, you can see the sphere will be pushed very far apart. And if you just increase if you try to decrease the distance, and all this sphere will be pushed unnecessarily apart from each other. And at that moment, you just need to decrease the limit. So try to make them not to be too far away from each other. There's also a way to fix this issue is by changing this max factor. So these are all choices that you can potentially do. But I usually keep that to 0.5. The minimum factor is actually useless, I suppose. So let's just forget about it. I will delete that very soon. But basically, currently, this is the idea. So try to manage everything in kind of good numbers. Just for knowledge, in Cinema 4D, the iteration has a default of 10. But in my algorithm, I don't think 10 is really necessary for function. Maybe it's necessary. It's just increase one. It does not really matter. There is a lot of things that it can change. Protective radius is the radius to protect all these spheres. Because the sphere has a diameter of 2, so I just put that 2. But of course, you can increase that so that all spheres will be scattered even further. There are some other features like a fair repulsion and so on. These are essentially for in case if the sphere is of different size, but I haven't really tested this feature yet. I suppose they should work as expected, but anyway. Currently, I'm too tired to test about that. So let's get that to 2 and try to increase this random vector, actually the vector wiggle. So if the vector is high enough, then if they do not intersect each other inherently, then the PAE just won't work. In that case, you can just still try to change the evolution. And the whole point is no matter how they actually move, they will not intersect each other. So now we can see there's two balls. They are going to intersect each other because this evolution. You can say they do not intersect each other. The thing I don't like is the movement is very jaggy. You can see they suddenly push apart. And I don't like this behavior. I need to think ways to solve this problem. But currently, at least it's working by prevent intersection. So I think I'm still in kind of a right track to do such kind of work in this case. Or maybe some other people can took this job to remake this stuff. I'm not a programmer. This is just for fun. Come on. I think this is it. I think I don't like the jagginess, but it's tolerable at this moment. Some application for this is like, despite the moving holes that you can potentially do, other cases it's like if I'm scattering the trees over the ground and I don't like the trees to intersect each other, then you can use this PAE. So you can see it's very good for a static scene at this moment. But of course you can still animate them with evolution, and it's tolerable. I personally would say it's tolerable. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it's tolerable. So this is it. Yes, so I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and I think I will talk about this PAE in the future. So see ya. Bye bye.